is Talea Dendi. I am a 10-year cancer thriver and a cancer doula. I am also the owner of On the Other Side, where I help people that have been diagnosed with cancer navigate their cancer journey so that they can focus on healing. I recently started a new podcast, and it's called Navigating Cancer Together. On my podcast, I will be interviewing people from all walks of life. There's some of those people will be cancer patients, some of them will be people who reach survivorship, some of them will be caregivers, and then also professionals from the integrative and therapeutic or complementary sectors also, because that's very important, is making sure people understand that there are other options out there. So, also speaking with those professionals from the complementary and integrative care therapies. Cancer patients, when someone receives a diagnosis, they face so many challenges. And the very first challenge is really just digesting and hearing and even trying to accept the words, you have cancer. It is it's a process that some people really struggle with for a very long time, and understandably. I wanted to do this podcast because, myself included, on my cancer journey, I had a hard time finding the right support groups. And I never did find that support group. So I became my own support group, and I did research about mindset and nutrition and all these other things. But I want to do this podcast so that people don't have to spend so much time trying to do research, feeling alone all the time, feeling overwhelmed, feeling unheard, feeling like they don't have someone to relate to. So that's why I want to bring on real people who have lived this, they have walked it, or they are walking it. And just being able to hear from those people can provide so much inspiration, information, and just well rounded support. So that's why I wanted to do this podcast. I recently released an intro video, actually just yesterday, where I talk about a little bit about me, my background, my experience with cancer, and then more detail about why I wanted to start this podcast. I will be having new episodes 2 times a month, so bi weekly on Wednesday mornings. My next one with a guest will be next Wednesday, August 11th, with Pamela Alejandro. Her story is so amazing. She is she's been sober for 31 years. Let me just put it that way. So that's amazing in itself. And she has been diagnosed with breast cancer 3 times. And this third time, she was told that she had 5 years to live. That's all that I'm going to share with you about that, because I want you to tune in. I want you to hear it directly from Pamela. Again, her story is amazing. Her level of faith and hope is amazing as well. And that's just an example of some of the things that are needed to help people get through tough situations like this. So please join me next Wednesday, August 11th. You can also find my intro episode, the very first episode. You can find that on Anchor as well as Spotify. Right now, my podcast is in the process of being shared on other platforms. So, in the coming days, it will be available on other platforms as well. But for right now, you can find it on Anchor and you can find it on Spotify. And I will share that information in the links as well. And then also, share this information with others. One cannot have too much support. One cannot have too much credible information. And nothing, I don't care what anybody says. You can talk all the medical terminology you want. Nothing trumps real life experience. Let me say that again. Nothing trumps real life experience. Hearing from the people who are living it is invaluable. It's real and it's relatable and it's necessary. So let's stop being afraid to talk about these things, because more than likely, each and every one of us is going to be affected by cancer in some way. So let's be open about it. Let's be real about it. Let's talk about those struggles. Let's get the real live raw information out there, because this is what people have to go through. And like I said, it's not pretty, it's not glamorous, but we need to talk about these things. And we need to make sure that people are not feeling ashamed. They're not feeling alone. And that's my ultimate goal with this podcast, is to provide credible, good information, making sure that people do not feel alone, making sure that people feel heard and they feel like they have someone that they can relate to, that they're not the only one in this fight. And so join me on Wednesdays, 2 times a month. And so my first episode with a guest, as I mentioned, will be next Wednesday. And tune in. I also have the option on Anchor where you can support my podcast so that I can continue to level up and I can keep doing it in the future. So if you're, if you're able to, I would highly and greatly appreciate it. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in the future. I'm going to claim that. I know all you guys are going to support me and tune in and support all these amazing people that I will be bringing on. So, with that being said, thank you for joining me on the other side. And I hope you all have a very blessed and wonderful weekend. Take care.